Good afternoon, everybody. This is Holloway with the National Weather Service with Alaska weather. On August 27th, 2020, a couple options for you: a telephone 1-800 number and weather.gov/Alaska. Both are designed to give you weather at your fingertips. And lastly, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please email us at the email list at the bottom of the page. For the hazardous weather, we do have one advisory out for portions of the Chukchi Sea coast there, Bering Strait area, and that's out through Saturday morning for elevated surface, 1 to 2 feet in there. Otherwise, nothing else across the state, but I do want to point out some special weather statements across many locations across the state of Alaska. There was one down there for the upper Alaska Peninsula area for elevated ash from old Novarupta eruption, and there's a glacial dam lake going on, lake release near Cordova. Juneau's also got a special weather statement out for elevated winds and pretty good rainfall overnight tonight. And lastly, across the interior, snow above 3,000 feet. So check those special weather statements out that the Weather Service has going right now. For the satellite information, you can see that the system pulling through much of south central Alaska, lingering showers and clouds across much of the panhandle and eastern portions of the mainland, some clearing across the western mainland, and we can see the next couple systems lining up in extreme eastern Russia. But I did look at some precipitation amounts overnight across Anchorage Bowl and into the interior. Anchorage Bowl and Matsu had an inch or slightly more than that, 1.25 inches across many locations. As you get into north of the Alaska Range and into the interior, 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch of rainfall the last 24 to 36 hours there. So pretty good rainfall amounts in there. And also some webcams showing some snowfall in the Hatchet Pass area and Denali Park. So snowfall is going on. And lastly, what else we got here? We're looking at the surface map for today's weather. There's that low in the northern Gulf, bringing some pretty good rain approaching the Panhandle. Lingering snow showers across the Talkeetna Mountains in the Alaska Range and southeast interior. Otherwise, some mixed precipitation across the eastern Brooks Range, and a couple systems pulling through eastern Russia and central Bering. High pressure dominates most of the Bristol Bay region, anchored by a 1,026 millibar high over the Aleutians. But otherwise, as we see Tuesday's weather, that low now getting very close to the Panhandle, 997 millibar low there, with moderate to heavy rain overnight again there. They've got a special weather statement out for that. Otherwise, some lingering snow showers across the southeast interior, Alaska Range, Wrangell, St. Elias. And also with the next system coming into the northwest, some snow showers across the western Brooks Range and mixed precipitation across the North Slope in some of those areas. Otherwise, a trough moving through the Bering Sea, bringing some light rainfall through there. And again, ridge high pressure dominating the eastern Aleutians. Otherwise, some clearing conditions expected to occur overnight and into tomorrow, maybe even the weekend, across much of south central and into the interior. For Saturday weather, there's the clearing that continues in south central and portions of the interior. Otherwise, the next system moves further east through the Brooks Range and North Slope with snow showers across central Brooks Range, and a trough moving through the YK Delta, bringing some light to moderate rain possible. Otherwise, light rain extending out through the Bering and through the Aleutians. Ridge continues over the eastern Aleutians, and there's a low that continues to fill near the Panhandle, still producing some moderate to light rainfall in the Panhandles. rain showers across much of the the Yukon Territory and British Columbia. Sunday morning, so low near Panhandle continues to fill, 1,014 millibars there, lingering rain showers in there, and some lingering rain and snow showers across the higher elevations of Alaska Range, Brooks Range. Otherwise, the Lakota front approaching the western Aleutians, weak trough over the central Aleutians, and the ridge moving slightly east, 1,024 millibars there. For low temperatures, Saturday morning looking at 55 for Ketchikan, 54 in Sitka, 55 in Juneau, 51 in Yakutat, 46 in Valdez, 42 in Anchorage, Talkeetna 37, McGrath 32, King Salmon 33, Kodiak 46. And for Saturday, high temperatures 59 in Ketchikan, 56 in Sitka, 55 in Juneau, 59 in Yakutat, 60 in Valdez, 61 in Talkeetna, 59 in Anchorage, 59 in Homer, 63 in Kodiak, 58 in King Salmon, and 53 in McGrath. For low temperature Sunday morning, 49 in Ketchikan, 49 in Sitka, 47 in Juneau, 47 in Yakutat, Valdez 44, 38 in Talkeetna, 36 in Homer, 36 in Kenai, 41 in Homer, 47 in Kodiak, 43 in King Salmon, 45 in McGrath. For high temperature Sunday afternoon, 56 in Ketchikan, 58 in Sitka, 57 in Juneau, 58 in Yakutat, 61 in Valdez, 61 in Talkeetna, 62 in Anchorage, 61 in King Salmon. For low temperatures across the interior and North Slope, 32 in Dead Horse, 37 in Ukqiavik, Point Hope 43, Nome 44, 35 in Fort Yukon, 36 in Fairbanks, Tanana 30, 35 in Galena. For high temperature Saturday afternoon, 54 there in Fort Yukon, 52 in Fairbanks, Anaktuvik Pass 41, Ukqiavik 41, 48 in Point Hope, 51 in Nome, 50 in Galena, 52 in Tanana. For low temperatures Sunday morning, looking at 40 now at Fort Yukon, 31 in Ukqiavik, 37 in Point Hope, 46 in Nome, 45 in Galena, 43 in Tanana, 41 in Fairbanks, and 46 in Nome, and Savunga 47. For high temperatures Sunday afternoon, looking at 54 at Fort Yukon, 56 in Eagle, 51 in Fairbanks, 53 in Tanana, 54 in Galena, Nome 52, Point Hope 43, 38 in Ukqiavik, 43 in Dead Horse, Kaktovik 44, and Savunga 53. For low temperature Saturday morning across the southwest and into the Alaska Peninsula Aleutians, Bethel 39, Aniak 34, Dillingham 38, Cold Bay 46, Dutch Harbor 52, Shimia 52. And for high temperatures Saturday afternoon, looking at Bethel 55, Aniak 53, Dillingham 56, Cold Bay 58, 59 in Dutch Harbor, 55 in Shimia. And let's see, Sunday morning low temperatures 48 in Bethel, 47 in Aniak, 45 in McGrath, Dillingham 45, 47 in Cold Bay, 51 in Dutch Harbor, and Shimia 51. For high temperatures Sunday afternoon, looking at 58 in Bethel, 55 in Aniak, 54 in Ammonik, 61 in Dillingham, 59 in Cold Bay, 59 in Dutch Harbor, 55 in Shimia, 64 over there in Kodiak. For the climatic outlook for days 8 to 14, temperature trend ending September 10th, looking at above normal tilts centered across much of the south central and into portions of the interior, with still above normal tilts across much of the mainland and into the North Slope, with weak ridging across much of the Bering Sea. We can expect some above normal temperatures across much of the state, near normal conditions over the southern panhandle. For the Precipitation outlook, and this is again for the 8 to 14 day period ending September 10th. So we're going to be looking for above normal possibilities of precipitation across much of the northern and central portions of the mainland, with drying possibilities across the southwest and the southern tip of the Seward Peninsula, and that extends over into the Kenai Peninsula and Kodiak Island, as well as the Aleutians and into the Alaska Peninsula, with near normal conditions across the southeast interior and even across the Panhandle, and again that extends all the way up into the Kotzebue Sound area.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Taking a look at the aviation forecast, starting with flying weather on Saturday morning, we will have some clearing conditions behind the system that now is pulling through the Gulf region, and it will be bringing some IFR conditions across much of the Panhandle and portions of the eastern mainland. Otherwise, the next system approaching the northwest and down through some of the Bering, IFR conditions associated with that system, but otherwise, again, clearing conditions across much of the south central area and southern mainland, and that it continues into Saturday afternoon, with marginal conditions now across much of the Panhandle, and again, as that system continues to move east across the northern part of the state, bringing IFR conditions spreading from the Arctic coast down through the Seward Peninsula and out through the Bering. Also some IFR conditions out there in the Aleutians. That clearing is expected to continue into Sunday, so you see some pretty nice conditions, possibly flying conditions across much of the south central and into southeast interior, but otherwise marginal conditions across much of the Panhandle. And IFR conditions, again, associated with that system, weakening now by Sunday morning. But IFR conditions continue from the North Slope down through the Seward Peninsula into the Bering and much of the Aleutians. And lastly, continued marginal conditions across the Panhandle, clear conditions, good flying weather across south central into the southeast interior, and IFR conditions through the Brooks Range, portions of the central interior, and out through much of the Bering and into the Aleutians. For past conditions on Saturday, Anativik, marginal decreasing to IFR conditions. Same for Adigan with that system coming through there. And Lake Clark Romero, good flying conditions, VFR there. Same with rainy, windy, a little bit cloudier, but improving to VFR conditions. Isabel, same thing there. Mentassa, a little bit cloudier over there with IFR conditions improving to marginal during the day on Saturday. Tanita, much the same, but improving to VFR conditions there. VFR conditions expected in Portage, and Chilkoot and White, marginal decrease in IFR conditions expected there on Saturday. For freezing levels, mainly 4,000 foot freezing level across much of the mainland, 2,000 foot freezing level across the Brooks Range, and lower conditions across much of the North Slope, but otherwise between 6,000 and 8,000 feet across the Panhandle, anywhere between 6,000 and 10,000 feet across the Gulf, and also across the Bering and the Aleutians. For ice conditions on Saturday, looking anywhere between 5,000 and 10,000 feet across the Brooks Range, and I did analyze some considerable moderate possibilities across the northwest coast there with that system coming on shore there, and anywhere between 7,000 and 10,000 feet across portions of the southeast interior and down through the Panhandle, with areas, a little bit of a small area there for considerable moderate in the southeast interior. For jet stream, vertically stacked low over the Panhandle, 100 knot winds coming across the southern end of the Panhandle, otherwise counterclockwise flow, with anticyclonic flow across much of the Aleutians and into the Bering, with 65 knots cutting across in northerly fashion across the Alaska Peninsula, and more westerly winds, again with that low in the Arctic Ocean, with up to 70 knots there across the North Slope. For 9,000 foot winds, again that vertically stacked low counterclockwise flow across the Gulf into the Panhandle, with anywhere between 30 to 45 across portions of the Panhandle, light and bear across south central into southeast interior, and more westerly winds across the west coast and into the interior, with 40 knots there, and again, weak anticyclonic flow across much of the Aleutians and the Bering Sea. For 3,000-foot winds on Saturday, again, that vertically stacked low showing up there, kind of clockwise flow, a little bit weaker now, with 35 knots and more of a westerly fashion coming into the Panhandle, line barrel across the southern mainland, more westerly winds as you get into the west coast. And for turbulence on Saturday, some areas analyzed over portions of the west coast below 4,000 feet, and that extends over into portions of south central and into the northern Alaska Peninsula, into Kodiak Island. And again, I went for below 4,000 feet across portions of the Panhandle, with areas of isolated moderate across those areas as well.
So my heart is definitely racing. I don't know about anyone else's. This is the stuff nerds dream of.
10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6,
It's gonna
5,
happen.
4, 3, 2.
That countdown you just heard? We'll get back to that in a minute. Last episode, we saw the epic launch of ICESat-2, NASA's newest state-of-the-art ice-observing satellite. But now that that's in orbit, the pressure to deliver results is on.
Between launch and, the first ground returns, took 17, 18 days or something like this. It's a time when you're quite nervous.
9 years ago, Dr. Torsten Marcus took over as the lead project scientist for ICESat-2 during a time when the mission needed a champion.
You start fighting for a mission over, for 9 years now.
So when ICESat-2 was turned on for the first time 18 days after it was launched, only then would the science team know if the whole thing had worked. And it did.
First of all, it's kind of emotional, right? Being here, ICESat-2 was development for 9-10 years. Project scientist. You live the mission, right?
If it sounds like there's a lot of noise in the background, that's because Torsten is being interviewed from a plane 1,500 feet in the air. IceBridge was tasked with the job of bridging the data between the end of ICESat's mission and the beginning of ICESat-2, about a 9-year difference.
The goal is that it would run until ICESat-2 launched and then would have overlap with ICESat-2 as well, so we can get a really long, well-calibrated time series from IceBridge.
As the deputy project scientist for Operation IceBridge, Brick works closely with Torsten to make sure the two missions are syncing up.
The timing was everything during that mission, which was a real challenge because not only do we need to...
Basically what you need to take away is getting an airplane and a satellite in space to fly over the same flight path at the same time and collect matching data is really, really hard. IceBridge was tasked with two objectives: check the accuracy of ICESat-2's data over land ice and over sea ice. They were able to lock in the land ice data fairly quickly in the mission, but the sea ice data...
It was really tricky. We waited day after day. Do we fly the sea ice? It's still on our list.
7, 6,
It's gonna
5,
happen.
4, 3, 2, 1. Mark on the overpass, 0435, 350.
Here's what just happened. A plane 1,500 feet up and a satellite 308 miles up measured the same sea ice at the same time. This moment finally linked veteran mission Operation IceBridge's data to that of its new sister mission, ICESat-2, two projects that, until now, were separate for nearly 10 years.
It's a very satisfying feeling because you do something that is meaningful and in the bigger picture, and yeah, it's very satisfying.
Our search for knowledge doesn't end here. Grace Follow-On and ICESat-2, the two satellite missions that launched this year, will continue to bring in incredible data for the foreseeable future. The steady drumbeat of campaigns in the field goes on, but most of all, the people who look for answers will never stop searching. And from our perspective, it's pretty clear why. What is your favorite planet in the solar system?
My favorite planet is the planet Earth.
What? Earth? Really?
The Earth, obviously.
Favorite planet in the solar system? Earth, right? We live on it. It's a really important one.
Favorite planet is Earth.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Why?
when you look out at the other planets, they're absolutely fascinating. They've got all sorts of interesting systems going on. They've got dust storms. But then when you're on another planet, looking back at Earth, I mean, it's just incredible.
Whenever you go in different places, it looks so different, so amazing. It's just, I love planet Earth. It's just a very special planet. This is our home.
We've seen things far beyond the solar system. But even with all that, even the amazing things we've seen, one of the most amazing is the Earth itself.
It's got to be Earth. It's got to be Earth.
It's got to be here. I like the polar regions of here, of Earth. Yeah, sorry. It's very boring.
Earth is good.
Earth is good.
We live here, it sustains our life.
I'm not going to turn my back on it.
It's got water, it's got ice, it's got vegetation. I mean, it's rich with life. And so studying Earth is a very, very rewarding career. And I think if we were on any other planet, we would be trying to get to Earth as quickly as we could.
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Taking a look at the marine forecast, starting with the ice edge, spoke to the ice forecaster who said continued cold temperatures will keep the pace of the melt quite slow, but upcoming southerly winds associated with the cold front could push the ice that remains away from the coast, opening up navigational waters along the North Slope coast. So be looking for that to open up just a little bit. Taking a look at Saturday's marine forecast for southeast. Inside waters, winds generally from the south at 15 to 30 with seas as high as 8 feet. So look for small craft advisory there. And for the outside waters, looking for winds to be out of the west at 15 to 25 with seas as high as 11 feet. Again, look for small craft advisories out there on Saturday. For Sunday, looking at variable winds across the northern and central portions of the inside waters, otherwise southerly winds of the southern inside waters up to 15 with seas as high as 3 feet. Outside water winds generally from the west at 10 to 15 with seas as high as 10 feet. For south central on Saturday, winds in the Gulf region, winds generally from the northwest at 20 to 35 with seas as high as 10 feet. So look for gales there on Saturday, and for Prince William Sound, winds generally from the northwest at 30, seas as high as 6 feet. And for the Cook Inlet region, winds variable in direction 10 to 35 down there in Kamishak Bay region with seas as high as 11 feet. Again, look for gale force winds on Saturday there. For Sunday, looking at winds generally from the northwest across the Gulf region, 10 to 25 with seas as high as 8 feet. And for the Cook Inlet region, winds generally from the north at 10 to 25 with seas as high as 7 feet. For Alaska Peninsula and Kodiak Island on Saturday, around Kodiak Island, winds generally from the west at 30 with seas as high as 9 feet. And south side of Alaska Peninsula, winds variable to 10 with seas as high as 3 feet. North side of the Alaska Peninsula, winds generally from the west at 15 with seas as high as 3 feet. And for Sunday's forecast, winds generally from the west around Kodiak Island, 15 to 20 with seas as high as 6 feet. South side of the Alaska Peninsula, winds generally from a southwesterly direction, 15 to 30 with seas as high as 3 feet. And for the north side of Alaska Peninsula. Winds generally from the west at 15, seas high as 3 feet. For the Aleutians on Saturday, winds generally from a southerly direction, 10 to 25 out there between Shemya and Kiska, with seas as high as 5 feet. And for Sunday's forecast, winds generally from a southeasterly direction at 15-25, with seas as high as 8 feet there between Shemya and Kiska. For West Coast on Saturday, winds generally from a southwesterly direction at 15 to 30, with seas as high as 9 feet, so look for small craft advisory in there just south of Savunga. And for Sunday's forecast for the West Coast, winds generally from a southerly direction, 15 to 20, with seas as high as 5 feet there in the Norton Sound region and south of Savunga. For Sunday's marine forecast, Arctic coast, looking at the Beaufort Sea coast, winds generally from a southerly direction, 20 to 25, with seas as high as 8 feet. Down through the Chukchi Sea coast, winds generally from the north at 20, and down through the Bering Strait, winds from the north at 25 to 30, with seas as high as 9 feet. So we'll look for small craft advisory there on Saturday. And for Sunday, along the Arctic coast there, Beaufort Sea coast, winds generally from the west at 10 to 20, with seas as high as 6 feet. And down through the Chukchi Sea coast, winds generally from the west at 10 to 20, with seas high as 4 feet. And down through the Bering Strait, winds generally from a variable direction, 15 to 20, with seas as high as 5 feet. For tonight's weather, looking at the surface map, low pressure system near the Panhandle will drive some moderate to heavy rain across the region there again for tonight. Scattered snow showers in the southeast interior, and then some snow showers as the next system comes aboard there over the northwest, with snow showers in the Brooks Range, and a weak trough approaching the Northern Sound region with some light rain and high pressure across the eastern Aleutians, 1027 millibar there. And for Saturday's weather, weakening low near the Panhandle continues to drive some moderate rain across the Panhandle. Otherwise, the front across the north moves east.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.